Now, Nigerians and the international community are looking on Inec to conduct truly credible elections. Correspondent Joke Adisa takes a look at the development and evolution of the electoral umpire since the appointment of its current leadership some 3 years ago.
In 1998, then Head of State General Abdulsalam Abubakar dissolved the National Electoral Commission of Nigeria, NECON, and created the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. INEC, under Ephraim Akpata, organized the transitional elections that gave birth to Nigeria's Fourth Republic on the 29th of May, 1999. That election produced former Head of State Olusegun Obasanjo as president. Not a few Nigerians believed the 1999 elections were marred by some irregularities. Fresh from years of military rule, Nigeria hurriedly conducted that election, and a number of pitfalls were conspicuous. Polling booths were situated in the compounds of politicians and traditional rulers who ended up stuffing the ballot boxes with ballot papers and tampered with election results. Ballot box snatching became the order of the day, with its attendant effect on the outcome of the polls. Succeeding elections, particularly under Professor Maurice Iwu, between 2005 and 2010, did not fare better, as allegations of compromise characterized the polls, putting into question the true independence of the commission. The turnaround for Nigeria's elections came through Professor Hatahiru Jega, a versatile academic and activist of repute. Relocation of polling booths to neutral grounds, electoral reforms, the introduction of the smart card reader, electronic register, and accreditation of voters, as well as electoral framework, were some of the innovations the Commission brought on board under Jega. The Commission has no doubt evolved over the years. Regular interface with key actors has impacted on its works. For instance, the Commission now holds separate quarterly meetings with political parties, security agencies, the media, and civil society groups working on elections.
For me,
INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu believes the collaboration has in no small way helped give the Commission a direction, as inputs and criticisms have led to redress of noticeable gaps.
The 2019 general elections was deliberately well planned. It's one of the most well-planned elections in the history of elections in Nigeria, learning from the experience of the last planning cycle that ended in 2016. We evolved a new planning tool, and we have the election project plan completed. We have the strategic plan and the strategic program of action.
Ballot box snatching is now becoming unpopular, and INEC believes even where this happens, it more often than not has little or no effect on the outcome of the elections. To this, INEC has also introduced guidelines it believes will further guarantee its neutrality in the electoral process and give credibility to the elections. Among these is the restriction of mobile phones from the voting point to tame the act of vote buying and vote selling. INEC has also designed a new voting pattern. Voters are to vote immediately after accreditation to prevent a situation where more than 2 million people accredited in 2015 failed to turn up to cast their ballots. Besides, the polling booth, according to INEC, will now make it near impossible for voters to show or snap their ballot paper to collect money from politicians. But while some Nigerians commend INEC's innovations, the coalition of united political parties does not agree with INEC on some of the guidelines rolled out recently ahead of the general election.
We have altered the administration of our polling units. Now the voting cubicles and the ballot boxes will be placed in close proximity, so that there is no distance between the voting cubicles and the ballot box for any voter who has voted in the cubicles to expose the marked ballot papers to any voter or to anyone else.
The INEC chairman has finished work on the guideline and smuggled it into our meeting without including it in the agenda for discussion for today. And what are the suspicious things he's introducing into the guideline? That people who come to polling units, whose fingerprint cannot be read, who the candidate cannot recognize will be allowed to vote. That people whose PVC can be read but their name is not in the voters register can vote. That people who the fingerprint is accredited and the name and data in the candidate is showing a different name and picture will be given ballot to vote, thereby bastardizing the entire electoral process and opening the way for floodgate of manipulation.
To further sanitize the electoral process, attempts were made in this dispensation to amend the Electoral Act, but President Muhammadu Buhari will not assent to it on the grounds that the time was too short for the amendments to make desired impact. Inec chairman speaks on efforts to ensure free and fair elections.
We have taken steps, learning from the experience of what happened in 2015, to improve on the functionality, particularly of the smart card reader. Remember, it was introduced for the first time in 2015. There is no way I can work for any political party or any candidate. My allegiance is to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and my loyalty is to the people of Nigeria.
There is legislator from Zamfara State, whose party is disqualified from fielding candidates in the election, believes Inec is doing well and affirming its independence.
You think this kind of scenario is possible where a state controlled by the ruling party is asked not to field the candidates? I think you have to commend Inec.
But what do these Nigerians think of Inec's preparedness for the forthcoming elections?
I don't see any reason for fears. The man in charge of affairs there, I have not met him personally, but I've been in fora where he has been talking, and I think he's up to the task.
Not much has been done when compared to the 2015 election in terms of preparation. Maybe I think that could be, I'll ascribe it to the non-passage of the Electoral Act.
Moves being made by Inec is deliberately targeted at making the election credible. Don't come to the election venue with phone. It's a step to avoid the issue of vote buying.
For the opposition, the continued stay of National Commissioner and one-time acting chairman of the commission, Amina Zachary, is cause for worry. Those calling for her sack insist she is a relative of President Muhammadu Buhari, an accusation she has consistently denied. The outburst recently generated by her appointment as the chairman of the committee overseeing logistics for the election is a case in point.
The position of Amina as the chairman of the collation committee, her job is welfare and health. Issues of collation and oppression. There is Mr. Ibano, who is the commissioner in charge of operations. He is not the chairman of that committee. And knowing her antecedent, the two committees he set up are people from the same section and with the same lineage.
Many, particularly opposition parties, misinterpreted her role to mean the returning officer for the presidential election, and the commission has not relented in clarifying its stance. As the nation yearns for more innovative measures to guarantee the credibility of the polls, Inec is confident the nation will move towards electronic transmission of election results in subsequent elections after this. Chokayadisa, TVC News, Abuja.